Well, guys, good evening.
Hello.
How's it going?
Deep Six Pro Wrestling Podcast fans, for those of you that are watching or will be watching, I got Tommy here from Back Sports Page and Jamie Rush making her debut onto our show from Back Sports Page and Raja.com. Make sure you check out Raja.com. What is that? RAJAH.com. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so make sure you check out those wrestling articles there. But before we get the show started, what we like to do is hit a little bit of music. So let's get that going. Why don't we?
Agility from the champion. Oh, deep six! That could be it. Delivers this deep six.
Good evening, everybody that's watching. Pretty good pay-per-view.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that for what we call a B show. I was thoroughly entertained from top to bottom, especially in the ending match.
JB, overall, what did you think of the show?
I thought it was pretty good. I kind of was disappointed that Nikki Cross wasn't there to go against Bailey. But, other than that, the last match was really good. I was hoping that Jay would win, but I guess that wasn't really doable.
They teased that very well. And we're going to jump right into that momentarily, but they teased that very well. I was very happy with that storytelling there. Good pay-per-view. Very good pay-per-view. Wrestling-wise, I have no complaints whatsoever. And you knew what you were getting with the ambulance match, but we had a couple cool spots there. But wrestling-wise, no complaints. Storytelling was good. A little underwhelming, and I will explain to you guys later why it was underwhelming. But first, for those of you guys that are watching, feel free, please. This show is not just for us to talk about the show. This is to talk with you guys. So feel free to please leave a comment on the YouTube page. Make sure you subscribe. But please feel free to leave a comment, join a discussion, and let us know what you guys thought of the pay-per-view, which I thought we had a very good show. So we're going to come in hot right away. We're going to talk about the Universal Championship match first. And since it's fresh on my mind, we're going to go there first. We're going to come in hot tonight. But we had Roman Reigns defending his newly won Universal Championship against Jey Uso. So we saw Jey Uso with a couple of flurries throughout the first 2-3 quarters of the match. Roman Reigns dominated a lot of the match. We see Roman Reigns beating on Jey Uso relentlessly, trying to get Jey to profess he is the tribal chief. Jey Uso won't do it, and Roman continues to beat on him. And then the story continues. Jimmy Uso comes back. We see Jimmy Uso, the return from, I believe it was an ACL injury or knee injury to that effect. It's been about 6 months at least since we've seen him, right, guys?
Yeah, something like that. They've definitely been off TV for a while.
Yeah, we see Jimmy Uso encouraging Jey that he doesn't have to do this. He doesn't have to do this fight with Roman. But Jay's determined because he wants that title. And then we see Roman Reigns professing and getting Jey Uso to verbally say to the whole world that he is the tribal chief of the family. Then Jimmy eventually throws in the towel and stops the beating. But in the process, before all the match, the story plays out, we see Jimmy Uso with a great 2 minutes where they really teased him winning the match. We knew it wasn't, but they did a great job teasing that. So, Tommy, started with you. What did you think of the match?
Going into it, I think this was another case of WWE backing themselves into a corner. I think they know what they want to do long term, and I think that is Roman versus The Rock at Mania, which I would love.
I agree. LA.
Yeah, exactly. In Hollywood, I mean, talk about a main event. I mean, that's perfect. But this one, the family thing, putting a guy like Jey Uso in this match, we know he's a good wrestler. He's won 6 tag team championships for a reason, but he hasn't gotten that main event shot. Now he's not with his brother because of Jimmy's injury. He gets thrown into that fatal 4-way. He wins. He gets the title shot. But man, the storytelling in this match was excellent. I don't say that a lot because I think sometimes it's tough to pull off a good match and have good storytelling. But everything in this match just hit so well. A lot of those big matches you need, high spots or just some crazy stunt, and this one didn't. This one just had perfect storytelling. You get the whole Roman wants to be the big dog of the family. You had even the before package, the video package. You have Afa and Sika and Rikishi, talking about the match, describing how much this means to them as a family. And then you just have, Jay. He's not gonna let his cousin beat him up like he did when they were kids. And he's just gonna keep fighting. And man, I'll tell you what, if it weren't for the opening match, this would have been my favorite match on the show. I mean, for WWE to what I thought would be backing themselves into a corner, they pulled it out here. I mean, Roman looks great. He looks like the heel that they want him to be. He surprised everybody when they first aligned him with Paul Heyman. Jay looks like a main event star that you can push. Maybe he gets an Intercontinental Championship run or a United States title run. I don't know, but this was a great match. I was thoroughly impressed.
Jamie, your thoughts?
I was actually pretty impressed with the match too. I at first when they started the match, I thought that I didn't really know where they were going to go with it because they are cousins. So I kind of thought that they'd be reluctant to actually go at it. But once it started going, I was thinking that maybe it would automatically end with Roman automatically winning. So when Jay started rallying and being able to get through it, I was kind of shocked because I for a second actually thought he was going to win the match, and then I started trying to think of all the ways that they would run that, like how he would be the winner of the match. But unfortunately it still ended up being Roman, who I'm not too fond of personally. I really was hoping that Jay would win that one. But
So
he didn't.
let me ask you, Tommy, you had mentioned that WWE backed themselves into a corner. Was that referring to the fact that the way that WWE booked this match, that Roman had to win this match?
Yeah, and the way I looked at it was, like you said, we all knew Roman was going to win. But they did such a good job of making you think, just maybe on this one night, they could, get a different decision on a Smackdown or on the next pay-per-view. But they made you actually think. I mean, we were talking before the show, we were watching the end of it, and it's just he might actually do this. He's hitting a few spots back-to-back, and it looked good. And that's the good storytelling that you want. And that's to have yourselves in that corner where everybody knows who's going to win, but you make people believe that just maybe that Uso could win. That's great. And so my props go out to WWE. It was a hell of a match.
Jamie, let me ask you this. Do you think that we see a return match with Jey Uso and Roman? Do you also think that maybe we could see other family members hop in on this with maybe returning a one-off with Roman Reigns versus Rikishi, his Jay and Jimmy, their father defending them. But although that would kind of make them look weak, but there could be a possibility there if they're going to go the route of the Rock at WrestleMania 37. Do you think we see a couple more family members in the feud?
I actually didn't think about that with the Rikishi. I was kind of shocked to see him in the interview section where he's aged, but that was my growing up, it was Rikishi. But I didn't think about that. But with The Rock and Roman Reigns going, I bet somehow it'll end up him making Roman say that he's the tribal chief. So I don't know. I kind of see that happening maybe, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think. I mean, again, coronavirus could change the plans, but I think that they do go that route. Roman Reigns versus The Rock. I mean, you can't wait too many more years to do it. I think it might make sense for them to do it this year. Whether it be in LA, whether it be in Tampa, who knows at this point. I don't think that they'll do this match in an empty arena, though, like we saw at 37. I don't think they'll do this in Thunderdome. So I think a lot of things are going to come into play if we're going to get that Rock versus Roman Reigns match that people have been clamoring for over the past couple of years. But moving on, we're going to take it back to the top of the card. I just want to start off with the Universal title match just because.
Got to start out hot.
Hey, you know what's not starting out hot is the New York Jets. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! I'm gonna flip the lid on this show
because the Jets face the Broncos on Thursday. It's
yeah.
they talk about how bad Thursday night is.
They walked into this week 0-2. They're walking out of this week 0-4. Denver will get that
win. One of us is going 0-4.
Yeah, Denver probably get the first win of the year. That's happening.
Gosh,
Shinsuke Nakamura and Cesaro versus the Lucha House Party. They kick off the pre-show, which was different because I thought we were going to get the Raw Women's title match, we'll talk about a little later, but I thought we were getting that on the pre-show that was advertised, so there had to have been a switch in between. There were a couple switches tonight, which we'll talk about, and some rumors flying around. Yeah, the show started off hot with WWE tag team title match for the Smackdown titles. Great match, awesome spots. This was everything to be expected. Lucha House Party falls just short, almost getting a win, but apparently WWE, following the AEW formula, started off hot with a tag team match. Tommy, what did you think of this match?
You know, it was good. I have talked a lot about how I don't think having Cesaro and Nakamura as a tag team is, you know, the best use of their abilities. I think they're both better in singles competition. And Lucha House Party has kind of shown some unbalance between the three. But this was a good opener. It was nothing special. But for a pre-show match where you expected like you said, the Asuka versus Selena Vega match, I mean, this was fun. This was two tag teams who kind of just went out there for 8 to 10 minutes and had a good match. It was hard hitting. It was enjoyable. I thought the finishing move with the spin and the Kinshasa was a good touch. You know, I like it. I have nothing to complain for that being a pre-show match and to kind of get the show on the right track.
What did you think of this match, Jamie?
Actually, with that one, I was still trying to get my computer set up because I was doing play-by-play tonight. So I missed the first half of the match, but the end of it, it ended exactly how I thought it would. They're kind of not good with, setting these stories up. So it's usually, for me, with, the tag team matches, with the Lucha House Party anyway, they seem more like not even main eventers, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah.
But I hope that doesn't. I don't really know what you would call that, but it ended exactly how I thought it would, and I don't really like Cesaro and Nakamura together, but at the same time, they keep killing it, no matter what they do in the ring. They just don't seem like they're too close of actual friends. Like they seem like two separate, like single wrestlers that are just fighting at the same time, not really as a team.
Yeah, I think Cesaro. The thing with Cesaro is he manages to make whatever role in very good. He does the best to his ability. Shinsuke, on the other hand, might be the one that's kind of, I don't know, going with the flow, or
It just seems like he doesn't really want to be there. Like even when he does
yeah,
the leg in the corner and he shakes, it just I could see on his face that he was just like, man, I'm really fighting on the pre-show, and I won the Royal Rumble 2 years ago. Like what the hell happened? So I totally agree with you on that fact. It just seems like they're on two different. Cesaro kind of knows his place, and he's like, yeah, just trying to make money, and Nakamura just is, like you said, going with the flow.
yeah. I kind of get that vibe from him now that Jamie brought it up. I do get a little bit of that vibe. But as far as Cesaro, on the other hand, you know what? In their roles right now, it's something for them to do at least. I think they deserved a better spot. I actually, knowing that we were going to get Asuka twice tonight, which we'll talk about later, I would have kept Asuka and Selena Vega as the original plan, as the first match. But before we talk about that, the next thing we're going to talk about is the Intercontinental title ladder match. And man, what a barn burner that was.
There's not enough words to describe how much I popped during this match.
I
This was
was
crazy.
marking out, and I guess this is the only match that you can really. Well, I guess this is the only match you can really technically. It was a title change, but not really, because Sami Zayn never really lost his Intercontinental title.
Yeah.
But again, if you want to call it a title change, that's fine. Go right ahead. Great match. Awesome spots. I mean, Jeff Hardy landing on the supports of the ladder earlier in the match. We see him jumping off the ladder later on, and then they had the camera above the ring, so you knew that there was going to be a couple spots in the middle of the ring too. Tommy, what did you think?
I mean, if you couldn't tell by my reaction when you first said it, this was insane. I mean, top 5 match of the year candidate, might even be the match of the year when we get to it. I mean, the spots, you put 3 guys in this position who, I think even on our prediction show, we said this has the best chance to steal the show. And it surely did. I mean,
I believe it did.
I couldn't even think of a better place to put this match, because these 3 not only were given 25 minutes to steal the show, they did just that and more. I mean, the spot where Hardy goes over the top rope, he's landing with the ladder, and the ladder smacks him in the head. And then, like you said, the Swanton Bomb. And my biggest thing with ladder matches is we've seen so many. So it's hard to get a creative finish out of it, especially in a triple threat. But, I mean, come on. With the handcuffs, and he handcuffs his his gauge hole to the ladder, and then handcuffs Styles to the other ladder, and, Hardy's trying to fight his way back in, and I'm so glad that Sami Zayn won, because I think not only did he have the best story to tell and has the best future as a champion, but, man, these 3... it almost seems like Jeff Hardy's trying to kill himself in every match that involves a ladder that he's in. I can't say enough about this match. I right now it is my match of the year.
Do you agree with Tommy on that, Jamie? As far as potential match of the year?
Yeah, actually, Jeff Hardy's always been one of my favorites, so he could probably just stand in the middle of the ring and I'd still be happy with whatever he did, but this actually was pretty impressive. I was really hoping that, Sami Zayn wouldn't take it, but, it seemed like that's where it was headed from the get-go. I'm hoping that Jeff Hardy gets it back, though, because that's my guy,
Yeah, we Tommy and I were talking about it on the prediction show last week, and I have to pat myself on the back on this one. But
I actually watched that.
I figured that this was going to be a way to officially justify Sami Zayn being off the last 5 months and getting him back the belt with him pulling the Shawn Michaels Razor feud, saying he never lost the title and then he actually wins the match. So I figured that this was going to happen this way. But Sami Zayn looks great, doesn't he?
Yes. I like his new character, honestly. Just the kind of... I like the beard. I like the look. I mean, I don't know if... He hasn't really changed his fighting style, which is fine. You don't have to do that every time you take time off, but it just looks like he's having more fun. You know, we've kind of seen him do the same stuff over and over again. He's had matches with Kevin Owens, which are great, by the way. Some of his best matches on the main roster. But it seems like he was kind of stuck in a rut, and I'm almost glad that he left, because they say absence makes the heart grow fonder. He just comes back. He just looks way more motivated, and to put on a match like this and that he wins, I mean, great. I'm very excited, especially with the draft coming up. That's now actually official.
Yep.
I'm excited to see if he goes to Raw, but if he does stay on SmackDown, who they bring over to be new challengers for his title, because I think there's a lot of great matches that he hasn't had yet with some guys on Raw that would steal the show.
Jamie, your thoughts on Sami Zayn? How did he look tonight to you?
I couldn't hear what you said.
How did Sami Zayn look to you tonight?
He did good. He looked all right. I mean, I'm not really a fan of his. You keep asking me about people that I don't like, so it makes me sound bad. But he's actually, at first I thought he seemed more like an amateur, but he's been pretty impressive with, the way he gets around in there anyway. He keeps somehow defeating people, so,
I feel like he has caught a groove. But before we move on, I feel like he's caught a really good groove. I'm noticing for sure. In the middle of the match, I'm thinking to myself, I hope WWE doesn't screw over this guy, Sammy, because the guys like you, Sammy, Cesaro's, Nakamura, Samoa Joe's, that Ring of Honor clicks. I feel like some of those guys, other than Daniel Bryan, haven't gotten their just due. So I'm happy that Sammy got this. He needed it. Out of the three of them, he needed it more.
Yeah, and it was weird because you don't really see the kind of wrestling legend, I guess, is that, if you go over on the go home show, you're not taking the title, you're not winning on the pay-per-view. And he got the rub on Friday on SmackDown, and so for him to get the win here was equally impressive. So, yeah, it was. I really, really enjoyed this match, and that's saying something because Boneyard match was my favorite of the entire year. So for this to top it took a lot, but this was definitely an extraordinary match to start the show.
Women's Raw title match. I'm gonna go a little out of order here. The Women's Raw title match, and then we'll lump it. We'll kind of tether it to the SmackDown Women's title match. As those of you guys are watching, you guys will know why in a second, because we see Asuka wrestle 2 matches tonight. But the first one we're going to talk about is how awesome of a job Selena Vega did. She had a really good outing, don't you guys think?
Yeah, I wish it would have gone on longer. Honestly, it seemed like it was just kind of getting into that next groove, and then the match ended. Hopefully we get to see more. I'd love to see more of Selena Vega singles action. I said that on the prediction show, and she looks good. She looks really good in the ring. So hopefully here we get to see some more in the next coming weeks.
Jamie, what did you think of the antics of Zelina Vega post-match with Asuka?
I've actually been liking watching Zelina Vega, mainly because she was an annoying manager, but she's actually really good in the ring, and she went from kind of distant to badass really quick, and I like how she's been handling herself, and I was not shocked that she was able to take on an attacker. Asuka has been, I think she's been deserving of winning for a while now, because it seemed like, she kind of got stuff taken away from her before she should have. And I'm glad that she won, but I think that Selena Vega will end up winning at least another opportunity to try for the title, but I think she could win it.
Yeah, they definitely set up a return match there. And she definitely kind of proved that she does belong near or at the main event scene for sure after tonight. I loved her heel work too. With not the handshake, but Zelina wanted to do the bow, lowering Asuka into doing the bow, and then a kick right to the chest. I ate that up. I loved it. I'm looking forward to seeing what Zelina does. So then later on, a couple segments down the road, we had the WWE Women's SmackDown title. Bayley was supposed to defend it against Nikki Cross. I'm not too sure why Nikki Cross was out. I don't know if I missed something. All I know is she wasn't cleared to wrestle.
They said that Killian Dane wasn't on his show either this week, so they're thinking that maybe it was COVID related. Or that they were at least put into quarantine because they were exposed. So, I mean, it's not like official yet, but that's what at least is going around as a rumor.
You know what? That would make sense just because of the news that's been going around the last couple of weeks with NXT. Yeah, that would make sense. Killian Dane is down there in NXT, and they said some NXT talent, and they didn't mention any names, but they said some NXT talent had tested positive for the coronavirus. So that would make perfect sense for sure. So yeah, they had to call an audible. Bayley comes out with her heel antics. I loved it. She's doing such a great job as a heel right now. I love her heel work.
Oh, I don't like her.
Hey, listen, if you don't like her, then she's doing a pretty good job.
That's exactly what I said. If I hate her as much as I do, then she's doing her job.
Yeah. So, in what we thought was going to be Asuka versus Nikki Cross, we get an open challenge answered by Asuka again. She's coming out, and WWE teasing that Bayley has been the title holder for 349 days. So this was a little bit of a red flag to me. I'm thinking, oh man, Bayley may drop the title here. Asuka came in hot, and the whole moniker of Asuka. Nobody's ready for Asuka, so I'm thinking, hey, Bayley's not ready for Asuka. Bayley might lose, but the match ends in a disqualification. And then from behind, we see Sasha Banks attack Bayley with the chair, knocking Bayley down. Yeah. Now, let me tell you something. Do you guys think that they're rushing this a little bit?
Yes.
Do you get that feeling, Jamie?
Yeah, maybe a little.
Because with that beatdown that she received a couple weeks ago, you can easily have Sasha have her off for a couple pay-per-views and maybe have Sasha come back at the Rumble, really selling the injury like should. I mean, anyway, don't get me started on that.
No,
but not in a neck brace.
But sometimes like the storytelling doesn't make sense. But we know we're gonna get to a great match between the two of them. But think about it. Have Sasha off TV. Everybody will miss her, and then have her come in hot at the Royal Rumble and start that feud and have that build to WrestleMania. Because, right now, I mean, looking at my watch, it's September 27th. We're almost through some, only 2.5 months. You could definitely slow burn this to the Royal Rumble and then build to a WrestleMania match.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, I said this
where there
again.
might be people.
Yeah, exactly. I said this again on the prediction show that this is the only feud that I could see that works for a Hell in a Cell. But I don't think that that's what they should do, even though it looks like what they're going to end up doing. I mean, you said we're in September, so what? We got...
We're almost October. October this week.
Exactly. Hell in a Cell, Survivor Series, TLC, Rumble, Chamber, one of the Saudi shows, and Mania. This just screams WrestleMania match. I mean, this is a fantastic match for that card. You want to build up. I mean, if I'm WWE, I'm looking at it and I'm saying, okay, WrestleMania 36 was pretty well received, but it was a 2-night event. It wasn't in front of fans. We have to go out. We're in Hollywood. We have to go all out for WrestleMania 37. That's why you get The Rock for Roman Reigns. That's why you do a match that has built this feud since, I mean, Sasha and Bayley have been linked together since 2014. You know, This has been going on for 6 years. You know, that's why you bring back guys like Cena or whoever they end up bringing back. I like the storytelling here. I do like that she came back. I honestly think that kind of would have happened anyway if it was Nikki Cross, is that Sasha would come back and attack her. But I really do hope that they take their time with this one. If they have to have a match at Hell in a Cell, fine. Make Sasha get hurt even more, and then you can build into that Rumble where she comes back at the Rumble and wins it and fights Bayley at WrestleMania. I mean, this match just screams WrestleMania, 25-minute match, maybe a 30-minute Iron Woman match, sorry. You know, I'd love to see that. Do a rematch of their Brooklyn match from NXT with the Iron Woman match. That would be
there, by the way.
Fantastic. I mean, tell me I'm wrong. That would be a great match for WrestleMania to fit in the middle of the card, or, you know, if it's even to open the show. I'd love that. So, you know, hopefully they do take their time with this one.
What do you think of Sasha? First off, let me ask you, Jamie, are you a fan of Sasha?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like her. I like
So
it when
do you think we're gonna get a match?
I like Bayley when she was with Sasha. I just don't like Bayley alone. I didn't like how that turned.
Do you think we're gonna get a match with Sasha and Bayley next month in Hell in a Cell? Do you think that's where it's headed?
Yeah, definitely. I see them.
I feel like the
at
writing's
least-
on the wall at this point.
They have to. I mean, what is she going to do? Just take it and move on? That doesn't seem very Sasha Banks of it.
So, for anybody that is watching, feel free to leave comments and join in on the discussion tonight. We have a little bit more to go. Any questions that you might have, comments, we will address them before the show goes off the air. So, make sure you leave those comments soon. Anyway, rumor. So, there's a rumor out. If somebody in one of my wrestling chats sent out a tweet that Nia Jax tweeted, "My tag team partner is expecting."
Interesting.
Wow.
A female baby bump emoji. Those emojis. Who thought that we'd be using emojis in 2020?
There's a whole movie based on them, man. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's bad.
Is that on
bad.
Netflix?
I don't know what it's on. Don't go looking for it, dude. I promise you that.
So bad? Okay.
It was that bad.
That movie's scary.
It is.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's a very
They're like
interesting.
going to get deleted in the phone.
Yeah. 2020 has just been weird.
Oh my god. I didn't even know. So Shayna could very well be expecting, and nothing's confirmed. I haven't had a chance to hop online yet to see if any of you guys are watching. Feel free to confirm that as we're going through our show. But yeah, so that would explain why. That could very well explain why the tag team titles were not defended like advertised. It should have been Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler against.
Oh, wow, she did say it.
Ruby Riott, Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan. So I think that's why that was another thing that had to be shuffled around tonight. So it's on her Twitter handle.
It is.
Yeah, Shayna
It
Baszler.
also says lies.
It could be. All the fans are commenting on it, but it could make sense too because they weren't on the show.
Mm,
Yeah, I I think WWE still did a good job of handling, you know, these kind of curveballs that they were thrown with, you know, not having a women's tag team match and not having Nikki Cross here. I think they did a good job. I think that's something that they've kind of done pretty well over the years, is if they get thrown a curveball like this. Because even with, you know, go back to Becky giving the title to Asuka because she was pregnant. Like they've done a good job with that. So you know,
I can't even tell you how many curveballs WWE has been thrown at. I mean, just think of I don't want to get off topic, but just think about Chris Benoit when he died.
Yeah.
Nobody knew what was going on, and they had to insert John Morrison into that match, if I'm not mistaken, against Punk.
Yep.
Yeah, so talk about a last minute curveball, and
Well,
this is
even
happened over and over.
Yeah, even with just, you know, WrestleMania. I mean, this year nobody was doing anything, and I that was kind of the way I looked at it. Was like they're just trying to entertain. They're trying to give people an escape from, you know, and especially around the time that it happened in April, things were still new. You know, nobody was really understanding what was going on, and they did a pretty good job for that show. I'm pretty sure it was overall well received. So, you know, yeah, WWE has really done a good job at you know, handling curveballs.
Bobby Lashley defended the U.S. title tonight. Business is apparently booming for the Hurt Business. Lashley with the Hurt Lock tapping out Apollo. We won't talk much about that. We'll move on tonight. But Bobby Lashley looks strong in his win. I thought Ricochet was going to turn. Maybe, but maybe they're working on that too, to have him rejoin Cedric in the Hurt Business. We'll see how that goes. But then we had the Raw Tag Team title, Street Profits versus Andrade and Garza. Yeah. What'd you guys think about this match? Jamie, we'll start with you on this one.
Yeah, I love the Street Profits. I absolutely love them. I even liked when they were doing the Eric and Ivar, you know, tournament or whatever they were calling it. That I don't know, they're very entertaining. I could definitely, you know, keep them on as long as possible because they're funny.
Yeah, I mean, this match was interesting to say the least. I think our biggest gripe with it in the prediction show was we've seen this so many times, and there's not much more you can do that's different. But for what that's happened in the match, the time that they were given, I thought they did pretty well. I mean, it looked like, you can tell me if I'm wrong, it looked like the referee threw up an X because Garza was hurt. And that is what caused that is what caused the, you know, Andrade didn't get the message that, hey, we're gonna end this quickly, and that's what caused the ref, you know, mess up or whatever they called it. So maybe I'm wrong on that, but it definitely looked like Garza was hurt on, I think it was his lower leg or something like that. So we'll see what happens there. But I thought this was a really good match for what they did.
Yeah, the referee definitely blew the call there. Well, what happened was we saw Dawkins hit his anointment, or we could just say sit down power bomb. But he calls it the anointment or the anointing or something like that. The referee counted to 3, but Andrade's shoulder was clearly up before the 3 counts. Referee blew the count, looked so bad. I'm thinking to myself, oh, don't tell me they're going to build to another match here. But Andrade and Garza looked very good. They worked very well together, very cohesive. I didn't catch on to the whole injury thing, to be honest. I may have looked down at my phone once or twice during that match, or I was just taking notes. Yeah, so I don't know where they go from here. Maybe they wait till the draft. Listen, Raw's only got like 3 tag teams. I mean, maybe 4 if you want to count Humberto and Dominic and Seth and Murphy. The tag team division's hurting. There's not enough tag teams there.
I wonder if they'll start doing more tag teams with the Hurt Business, depending on where they end up. If they, you know, do something
They should use them as a tag team.
Yeah, I would love to see. Could you imagine, like, you kind of have the veterans in MVP and Shelton Benjamin as a team, and then you have Bobby Lashley, the bronze, and then Cedric Alexander is a high flyer. Those would be two really good tag teams that would be entertaining to see.
Absolutely. Lately, WWE's been killing more tag teams than building, which is a problem. Which is a huge problem. I don't know if Jamie, you noticed that, but there are two official tag teams on Raw, and then the others are just strange bedfellows, and maybe 3 on SmackDown. I mean, how can they call this a tag team division? I mean, to you guys, wouldn't it make sense that they just utilize this draft come October, which is a couple days away? And I think that would make the draft next Monday, if I'm not mistaken.
I think
just merge the tag titles.
Yeah, exactly. I've been wanting them to do that for so long, because if you're not going to put random people together and let them build to a tag team like they kind of did with Nakamura and Cesaro, then keep your 6 tag teams or whatever, it doesn't matter, and just have one belt. Make them fight over that, and then you can introduce new tag teams and bring back some old ones, kind of like when Smackdown, when they did the brand split back in 2016. I mean, they brought back the Headbangers, they brought back the Spirit Squad. They're just bringing in new people, but it's entertaining, and that's the thing, is wrestling is designed to entertain people. They need to have something to where we're not seeing the same thing over and over and over again. And that's where they ran into the problem here with, Garza and Andrade versus Street Profits.
So yeah, there's a lot of work to be done. We got the draft coming up in about another week, as they have announced. Lots and lots of work to be done there for sure. And quite frankly, in my opinion, they should maybe think about merging a women's title, but I'm not quite there yet. I'm more concerned with the tag titles for both shows. That I think that needs to be merged for sure. And then the women, they need more tag teams.
Yes, way more.
I just don't understand how Vince doesn't care about the tag team division. And then you look at AEW on Wednesday nights, it's night and day. You can tell that they care about the tag team division. They're featured in the first match. Actually, heck, a minimum of half their matches are tag matches every week on Wednesdays. And great action. The tag team title scene is stacked.
Yeah,
and ready to go.
And that's the thing, is if you look back, I'm kind of doing a little bit of a rewatch of the best matches starting from 2000. If you look at 2000 to 2004, the tag team matches stole the show on every card. I mean, the SmackDown 6, you had the TLC matches. I mean, they just have a wealth of tag team talent that they're not using. And even if you had to put the talent that you're not using that are single stars together, you get some new compelling matchups, and that's what you want to see. So, yeah, I agree with you. I don't understand, especially when you look at your competitor and see what they're doing, and they're basically joking with you because you can't do it to the extent that they can. It's embarrassing for WWE to call it a tag team division.
So we had the main event, the last match we'll be talking about. I like a good short show every now and then. This wasn't too long. This is perfect. But I finally came to the realization as to why they made this ambulance match. You guys want to hear?
For sure.
So I'm watching TV. I'm at work. And I'm with a customer. I look over to my right. The TV's on. And then I see WWE advertising their action figures, which featured Drew McIntyre, Roman Reigns, a toy ambulance truck, and whatever little toy medical kits that came with it with their set. So they literally made this ambulance match to sell more merchandise. So that's why we got this ambulance match here.
Maybe it'll come with the little steel red chair that came out of the ambulance.
With the little health symbol on it too.
What is a chair? I've never seen a folding chair.
That's always in the ambulances.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my goodness. So yes, WWE is making more money on toy merch. They tend to do that a lot, actually.
They
So
tend to do.
the next coming weeks they're gonna push their Hell in a Cell new Hell in a Cell toys. You watch, it's happening. It's gonna happen. That's why they're doing all these gimmick matches all the time.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you guys remember what I said earlier, and Jamie, I brought it up before. But this, although the matches were great, the storytelling was good. The underwhelming part of this card was that there was no title change at all. No
Yeah,
new
like
title
it could have
holders.
just not happened.
No new
But
title holders.
it's good that it did, though. I'm just saying. You'd think that they would have at least had something be different for, the coming weeks, but maybe they're leading it up to the next pay-per-view.
I don't know. This would I mean I think their ultimate plan is to get the title off of Drew and have him win it back at WrestleMania again in front of a crowd, hopefully. But this would have been the perfect opportunity to take the title off of Drew. Throw him in the ambulance. He's knocked out. He doesn't take the pinfall. He doesn't take the submission. Randy Orton has his title for the next 6 months, whatever. I do not know where they go from here, how they get this title off of Drew without him taking a submission or a pin. What do you guys think?
I'm trying to think of how they could do that.
Now that I've been thinking about it, because I mentioned it to you at the beginning, with the fact that Keith Lee could be revealed as the leader of Retribution. While I don't think that would be the best thing for his career, I think that could set up a triple threat Hell in a Cell, and Retribution gets involved, and that's where he's revealed to be the leader, and that's how they get the title off. They help Randy wins or something, or Keith Lee wins. I don't know if that's what they do, but I agree with you. I thought this was the match that they pull the trigger, but I do have to say ambulance matches are so tough because of the way that they're designed to win. I mean, somebody just gets thrown in the back of an ambulance and, that's it. But this, having everybody return, except for the Big Show, I didn't pop for that one. But Christian and Shawn Michaels, I loved it. I mean, Shawn Michaels pushing him off the ambulance and giving the little DX chop. Oh, perfect. Perfect. I was kind of hoping for a little bit of an Edge return, but maybe they're holding that off for a little bit longer because he's still recovering. But no, I thought this was a really good match for what it was, being an ambulance match. But yeah, I don't understand what they're gonna do here, getting the title off of Drew.
I mean, you definitely bring up a good idea. You could probably make Keith Lee into a dark character, a hooded guy. He wears the hood already. As he always has, and I guess he's been wearing a hood for the past couple of weeks. I don't even know, but you can kind of tweak Keith Lee's character, making him a darker character for sure, without changing him too much. Because other than that, I mean, if you don't do it right, you're basically, you may as well get the shovel out for Keith Lee now.
For sure. And that's
I
not
hope he
something you
doesn't
want to
turn
do.
bad, though. I don't want him to be bad.
I
like him
was
on NXT.
wondering where he was. I was surprised. I thought for sure, and I put it in the comment thread of another wrestling chat that watched, Keith Lee's going to come out and cost Drew the match because you see all these guys helping out Randy. But Jamie, where do you think they go from here, in your opinion, with Drew McIntyre?
He's really good as the champion. I mean, he uses his own, unlike me tonight, but he uses his own words, and he's able to keep an audience, and I don't think that Keith Lee is ready for that. So I don't know if he would be the best alternative to that. But same thing with Randy Orton. I didn't think that he would be sticking around like for every night. Like, I don't know. It doesn't make sense right now to me. I'm been up for a very long time, but I, I like where Drew McIntyre is in it. He's really cool. He's a badass, and the Claymore kick seems like that's gonna keep him going.
A couple good spots with that. He Claymored the door off, which then they started telling the story with his knee. And then Claymore and Randy Orton followed by the punt.
I didn't expect
To
him
win
to
the
kick the
match.
door off of it.
No.
That seemed a lot easier than you'd think.
I thought maybe Drew McIntyre was going to Claymore the window and go and put his foot right through the glass or something. That would have been, like a fake glass or something. That I saw that coming, but so yeah, Drew McIntyre is still our champion, and then we see Ric Flair. Woo!
Now that was something. I mean,
That was perfect.
How can you not smile at that? I mean, we're not gonna get to see Ric Flair on a lot of appearances because he just doesn't make a lot anymore. But you can tell he's having fun, and that's so good. And to be able to tell the story the way that they are with his past with Randy, I mean, I loved it. It was such a good way to end that match.
Yeah. So, there's a lot of
That was a good surprise.
questions to be answered for sure. I mean, what they're going to try to do to get the belt off of Drew without hurting him in a process. Listen, I've been saying it for months, and I said it for months ago, and then I retracted a couple times. I said it in April that he should probably keep the belt until Survivor Series, have him lose it at Survivor Series, and then win it back at WrestleMania. So far, even though I retracted a little bit at times, and quite a bit, especially when they came out with this ambulance match, that still is holding to be true. Yeah, I'm not too sure how you book the Hell in the Cell without some shenanigans. So Retribution could very well they could very well go into a Drew McIntyre versus Dijak feud. They may not even go the Keith Lee route.
T-Bar.
T-Bar. Oh God.
Oh man.
Jamie, what do you think of the names of the new faction Retribution? The T-Bar, Slapjack.
Mace.
That,
And
How am I
Reckoning.
supposed to
Ridiculous.
believe that any of these characters are going to be main eventers one day?
Could you imagine Reckoning versus The Rock? Oh wait, Reckoning is Mia Yim, but T-Bar versus The Rock at Mania or something.
Oh my God.
What a match! That's money printed all over. That is money printed all over.
More like money lost. Oh man.
Well, they would be in Hollywood, so sometimes you print some, sometimes you don't. So it would fit.
hey, they got some names out there.
That's true.
Blue Ivy and Apple. T-Bar fit right in.
Exactly.
So we got. Looks like they're gonna quite possibly progress with the Roman Reigns feud. Maybe another match, a return match of some sorts. I could be wrong. Maybe Jey Uso will see what Jimmy's saying, and maybe they all join his faction. I don't know.
I would love that.
That could happen one day. And then we talked about Drew McIntyre tonight. I would expect some kind of a match in Hell in a Cell, probably against Randy Orton. And then we'll have to see what happens there. And then, listen, it may not even be. They may hold off Randy Orton until Survivor Series. I honestly, WWE right now is booking week to week. They're not booking long term like AEW. You can tell the difference between two shows.
Which is weird because as me and you said before the show started, it seems like the pay-per-views are booked pretty well. I mean,
Yes.
they've had a string of decent to really good pay-per-views the last I would say even since WrestleMania. I have enjoyed every single one, and you get to Raw and it's just awful. I mean, Raw is tough to watch some weeks, and so I'm honestly waiting for the moment that Randy, he goes to the hospital or in the ambulance and he's magically going to show up tomorrow. It's the Raw trope. So we'll see. But I wish WWE, maybe the draft will do something, change something here. But I'm waiting for the next pay-per-view, I guess.
Yeah. And then her business, they looked very good. Bailey, her continued feud with Sasha, that's probably happening at Hell in a Cell. Yeah, guys, I think that pretty much covers everything. I mean, we got the draft coming up in October. We had in between we have G1 going on with New Japan, which has been phenomenal. We got the AEW 1 year anniversary show coming up on October 12th.
Takeover.
Takeover
Next
next Sunday. Or
Yeah,
is it Saturday?
It might be Sunday, honestly. I don't know. I figured it would be Saturday because that's when they normally run them.
So there's a lot of good stuff coming up this fall. Fall seasons are typically dead and boring, but there's not too much that's going to be boring over the next couple of weeks leading into Survivor Series. So got my fingers crossed. Even though the Raw content's not going to be good, probably won't be.
Maybe
SmackDown's been great,
Smackdown has been really good.
but we have a lot of other stuff to watch too, which thank God. Sometimes, thank God. Well, guys, thank you, Tommy. Jamie, thank you so much for hopping on. And for those of you guys that are watching right now or will be watching, make sure you subscribe. This link is, of course, on Twitter. It's on the Facebook group of the Deep Six Pro Wrestling Podcast. We're also available on iTunes, Google Play, and Spotify, and more. Also, visit www.backsportspage.com for all your sports events. And Jamie, we're going to promote you tonight. Raja.com. Make sure you check out her work on Raja.com. I'm going to check it out myself. So make sure you guys are checking out the wrestling news. And then back on the back sports page about the sports interviews and all the good content that's on there. Tommy writes about AEW. So a lot of good stuff to look at while you're scrolling through your phones. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. That basically wraps up our show. And we will be back on Thursday nights discussing AEW. So make sure those of you guys that are watching, keep a lookout for that. And make sure you subscribe to our YouTube so you get those alerts. And guys, that wraps it up. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.